Hello, everyone. Welcome to the Black and Gold. This is Hi-BruiNation. Got a couple things to talk about today, as some crazy news broke out yesterday with Linus Ullmark being traded to the Ottawa Senators for a bag of crap and a first-round pick right before the Stanley Cup final. But at least we got a first-round pick in return for it, so we are going to be picking in this talent-filled draft. Tonight, we'll discuss and break down kind of that trade and get our thoughts upon it. So, as usual, I'm always joined by my colleague, Matt Daddy V. Vogel. You can see his Twitter tag if you are watching on our YouTube channel. So, give him a like, give him a follow, do the whole shebang. We'll also talk about kind of like our precursor to free agency, as that also opens up on Monday. Bruins with $24 million in cap space. So we're going to kind of break a lot of things down here. The Ullmark trade, for one, some draft expectations now that we actually have some high value picks in the draft, and just a look ahead to what we think some potential free agent targets could be. Let's start with the trade. On the Twitterverse last night at around 7:30, Linus Ullmark, was traded to the Ottawa Senators for a 2024 first round pick. That was the Bruins' original first round pick that was traded to Detroit. That was later traded to Ottawa for Alex DeBrincat. And we got Jonas Korpisalo, which is one half of the bag of crap, and Mark Kastelic, who is a fourth line. I don't know. Would you call him a brute, Matt?
I'm honestly not even sure. That was definitely I had a feeling that Allmark was getting moved before the draft. Sitting down, buckling down for Game 7, ready to roll, and I start getting texts. Like Bruins finalized the deal, like it's not great, all this stuff, and then it finally comes out. The details, and it's not what I was expecting. I mean, I'm happy with the draft pick to get back into the first round. I mean, like we talked about before the show, there's a lot of talent coming in this draft. I wasn't really looking at any potential first round guys, so I don't know a ton about the guys that are coming up, but
yeah, I got to be honest. Neither did I. I didn't foresee us getting a pick this year. And to be honest with you, I was actually surprised that we did. I knew Ullmark would garner a first round pick. I just didn't know in which draft that would be. Whether people are going to kind of hold tightly onto the draft picks this year, or be a little bit more loose with it next year.
Well, who knows? I mean, you get the draft pick, you get Korpisalo, which he wasn't great last year. He hasn't been stellar his whole career, but he hasn't been as bad as he was last year. I don't know much about what's Kastelic. I don't know much about him. I think that what we don't need is any more fourth line grinders, any third or bottom six guys. I think we have that. I think we need either top six guys or whatever. But who knows? We might not even use that pick. We might move it. We still got time before the draft to make some moves.
I don't think they move the pick, but I think they may try to flip Corp and Kastelic, but maybe not Kastelic. I mean, they'll probably keep him because he's cheap. He's only about $870,000 on. So I don't know what they do with that. And plus, yeah, you're right. We have Brazeau too. So I mean, your bottom six is pretty much well defined. I think we've agreed last time that Trent, Patrick, Geeky is going to be that third line. It's probably going to be one of the better third lines in the NHL, I think, just because of the speed, the two-way game, and the aggressiveness and the forecheck that line could possibly bring. Your third line, not your fourth line. And your fourth line is likely going to be Lauko, Beecher, and Brazeau, assuming Boquist and Heinen do not get signed. If Heinen does get signed, I think actually Heinen does slot in on that kind of fourth line kind of play. But we can kind of get to that in a few minutes. Let's kind of break down this Linus Ullmark trade and see who won, who lost. I mean, Linus Ullmark is a former Vezina Trophy winner. He won that in the 2022-2023 season.
Yes, and like you said, I don't know. I didn't even think about flipping Korpisalo. I just assumed he was a lock to back up Swayman. I know yesterday I think the Bruins signed Bussy to I think it was a 1-year deal. I don't think it's much,
Yep.
but I don't know what their plan is with him. If they're just going to keep him down in Providence as a back to.
Yeah, important to note about that. So his contract is a 1 year. It's not a two-way contract. So you kind of have to make that decision. And I think it's kind of like a prove it deal. But he's been great down in Providence. He was great while he was here.
It's a two-way.
It is a two-way. Okay.
Yeah, it is.
Okay. I thought it was
two-way, 1 year, two-way, $775.
So then I think honestly what I think that they should do is maybe if they see that Bussy is doing well and maybe at the trade deadline they kind of just dangle Korpisalo and say, hey, we'll take a third or a fourth for him, especially if Korpisalo kind of shows that he can kind of regain something. And with only a $3 million cap hit, that's a really cheap that's backup goaltender money.
To answer your question, the original question, who won, who lost, I for sure think that the Senators won. They won that trade. I mean, as soon as it happened yesterday, I was texting everybody. I was texting you that we got absolutely fucking fleeced. But I mean, the more I think, I hope not. I hope that there's more that I'm not seeing right off the bat, initially. But I don't love it.
I think Corp will be a solid backup, but Swayman's definitely going to play 60 games next year. That's for sure. Yeah, it's not going to be a 40-40 split or anything like that. It's going to be Swayman's going to see that it's going to be Swayman's net for the majority of the way. Barring any injury or anything like that. I definitely agree with you. As of right now and as it sits, Ottawa won the trade. However, and as we discussed it prior to the show, if we kind of take into consideration that the original trade was supposed to be, or rumored to be, from Boston, Lauko and Ullmark for Chychrun in the 21st overall.
25th.
Sorry, yeah, I'm sorry, the 25th overall pick in return. But the stipulation was that Ullmark needed to come with an extension. And I guess Rick had also mentioned this and said this, that Ottawa was trying to extend Ullmark, but Ullmark was not biting. So if Ullmark ends up leaving after Ottawa after this year, and let's just say he has a stellar year, I'm going to say Boston did not win, nor did they lose that trade, because we gave up, Ullmark, but Regate got more than they got in return. You know what I mean? The only way I see them justifying that we still got robbed in that trade is if they are able to retain Ullmark. If not, then I'm going to open up for that discussion and say I think it was a neutral trade. I think it was a hockey trade at that point.
It sounds like if that's the case and he didn't want to sign an extension, I mean, his mind might already be somewhere else too. He might already think about where can I go next.
Yeah.
So
I definitely think it also depends on Korpisalo's play too, because I think if you look at it, if the Boston Bruins defense makes him shine, or if he shines here in maybe the 20 games that he'll play, because again, I guarantee you he'll play 22 games probably. If he goes and at least has a winning record with a decent save percentage, I think I'm fine with that. I think I'll take it at $3 million. Right now it looks bad, but who knows what it can turn into.
Yeah, I mean, like I said, initial reaction, I wanted to burn my house down because I was
your house or Dawn's?
I was the garden, just everything. I was pissed.
Tear it down.
I was so pissed, but I mean, again, you get time to cool down. I still don't love it, but who knows? I mean, who knows what their plan is? Who knows if that's the last move they're going to make before, the draft, and we still have free agency. So, I mean, who knows?
It's going to be kind of crazy. So let's go to the draft for a second, right? Let's kind of open this discussion, because I think we can beat the Linus Ullmark thing. Do with a dead, like a dead horse. We can just beat it to death as much as we want. I think it's done. It's over with. We now have $24 million in cap. I think that's a positive to kind of look at. But looking at the draft, right? I mean, we have the 25th overall pick. Do you see the Bruins keeping it at 25, or do you see them attempting maybe to move up a little bit? Maybe there's a target that they have. I mean, personally, if we look at the team needs, they definitely need a 1C, right? For sure. They're not going to get that in this draft. They're not going to get their 1C in the draft, I don't think. So they also need a second line right winger. That could be a possibility. I mean, David Pastrnak was 25th overall, when he was drafted. So there is a possibility that maybe they find that. They may also need a left defenseman at some point at the depth piece. Because if you look at it, we're strong on the right side. We have McAvoy, Carlo, and then Andrew Peak. But then you look at Lindholm, Lowry, and then, it starts to teeter. So are there ideal targets that you kind of see? Do do they move up? Do they stay where they are? And who do they pick?
Before yesterday, wasn't thinking one bit about the first round of this draft. So
don't blame you.
I mean, do you have? I mean, I don't. We were saying before we were talking to Rick. I checked a bunch of mock drafts last night and today, and it seems like everybody has someone different going at 25. I mean, late in the first round, who knows who'll be left? So I get it, but I don't. I mean, I'm obviously going to before the draft look into it more, but who knows? I mean, do they move it? Do they keep it and draft someone and hope it's the next David Pastrnak? I'm not entirely sure. What do you think?
It's apparent. So this is a very talent filled draft, right? So it kind of, I think what Sweeney needs to do is he needs to assess it, and he kind of needs to look and say what's the probability of that guy that I really want being at 25. If he's projected to be a couple spots higher, maybe you try and move up a little bit. But I think you need to either take a center or a right wing. And I mean, I know people will say, or Bruins fans will acknowledge that we do have Fabian Lysell, who is in Providence, and he was a left winger. Then he did transition over to the right wing. He did start his AHL career on the left wing with a right-handed shot, but they did move him over to the right wing side. So maybe he takes that next step and joins the NHL next year. Actually, I think he has to.
I agree with that. I can see that.
So I think yeah, it depends. Right now, according to Bob McKenzie and his predictions, from pick 20, and I'll go to probably say pick 28, right? Because maybe they trade down a little bit. They have Steen Solberg. Some of these names, I'm sorry, guys, that I might mispronounce. I'm not perfect. He is a defenseman. He's 6'1" at 205 pounds, and he's predicted to go 20th, and then 21st. You have Igor Chernyshov, who's a left wing, 6'2", 204. 22, he predicts Sasha Boivert. That's probably a big butcher.
Butchering these names for sure.
Probably.
For sure.
100%. Center, 6'2", 183. Then you have, oh God, 23, Cole Bowden.
I would say Bowden too. I saw it. I knew that was coming.
Center, 6'2", 210. Michael Hayes at 24. He's a center, right wing, 6 foot tall, 188. And at 25th, he has Tarek Parashak. I think I got that one right. He's a right wing, 5'11", 179. Like I said, we kind of need a right winger. At 26, Emil Hemming, another right wing, 6'1", 205. 27, EJ Emery, defenseman, 6'3", 183. And at 28, Marek Vanacker, left wing, 6 foot tall, 178. So
there's no way that's how you say it.
Vanacker, I don't know. I don't know. So whatever.
I'm in the same boat. I would too.
I gave
no way that's how you say it.
I gave it the good old college try. We were there for it. It's okay. No, but if you look at it, all those positions are there. They have a left wing, a right wing, centers, defenseman. So I think Don Sweeney needs to make a decision there and see what the team really needs. So, and who knows if DeBrusk actually leaves? Well, you might need a left wing. So, I think the draft will also kind of tell us what he's thinking in terms of free agency as well.
Yeah.
So, that's what I think.
Yeah, like you said, I don't know much about those guys you just named. I will. I'll do my homework before the draft starts. It's going to be a very unproductive day at work tomorrow. But Yeah, I don't know. I don't know what direction they're going to go in because, like you said, we need a center. You need someone who can win a face off because we struggle with that more than anything last year, or one of the things we struggle with more than anything. We also need a right wing. We need a lot. We needed a lot, and I don't know where they're going to go with the $24 million we have available.
Well, they're going to sign Swayman with the $24 million.
Oh yeah.
But now I'm more confident than ever. He's going to get $8 million.
Yeah. So that cuts down to let's say 16.
16.
How to work around that?
Yeah. I mean, yeah. So I don't know. It gets difficult, but I do think that the draft is going to basically tell us a lot of where Don Sweeney's mind is at going into free agency outside of that 1C location. Yep. That he's definitely going to address for sure. Let's move on to free agency. So free agency is going to be it's open on Monday, and there are a ton of names. It is a huge free agency year. Yet again,
that's an understatement.
Yeah,
there's a lot.
And from what I'm hearing from Matt, from Alex, from Rick, from everybody on Twitter, and I'm seeing it, there's going to be chaos because think of it too. Martin Necas is also available. He's a center right wing. Do the Bruins attempt to go for him? What's Carolina's asking price? Is Martin Necas going to get offer sheeted? That's one thing too. He's probably the most desirable RFA out there. In this free agency. And then you look at Jake Gensel, who's also free, Elias Lindholm, Brandon Montour, Sam Reinhart, all of these guys. However, I will say I do think Florida attempts to keep Montour and Reinhart. I don't think they're going to be able to keep both with the money that they only have available and the money that they're going to garner.
Reinhardt's the obvious option there. You got to do what if you're them.
Yeah,
I mean,
you pay that. You pay that son of a bitch. You pay him.
Yeah,
you pay him.
If it's between the two of them, I think that's a no-brainer.
I've heard
a lot of rumors about Lindholm and the Bruins' interest in Lindholm. I wouldn't hate that at all.
Yeah, so Vancouver has been attempting to try to sign Lindholm. They offered him $7 million and he declined. So I don't know whether or not he's expecting more than that. He's been pretty consistent in his years with, he was averaging a point per game, 0.8 points per game. He dipped this year to 0.6 points per game, but overall in his career, he's at least a half a point per game player. I don't know if that garners 8 million, but it definitely can get you 6.5 to 7.5 in between there. But it also depends on the contract length. He's going to be 30. So, that does factor in. I don't think it's going to be a bad contract with the ever increasing value. But maybe he does have his sights set on Boston. Maybe he has his sights set somewhere else. Maybe somewhere else that desperately needs a center. Could be Chicago, and he wants to go play with Connor McDavid. Not Connor McDavid, Connor Bedard. Too many Connors. Yeah. Can't even get names right. You just heard me a while ago trying to pronounce what. But
it
was pretty bad.
That's why I let you rifle off those names.
Just let me do it.
I knew I wasn't going to get it. So
yeah, you can't do it. Listen, I'm a name savant. I got this. Yeah, I'm an absolute king. I'm the Kingslayer at this shit. Yeah, I don't. There's other names out there too, like maybe Joel Edmondson. He's not a huge name, but someone that can bolster the Bruins' defense. Maybe on the cheap deal. He's getting up there in age because Derek Forbort is going to test free agency. I don't know if we re-sign DeBrusk, so that's a big question. Bertuzzi still hasn't been re-signed by Toronto, so maybe does Boston circle back and go back to Bertuzzi? If DeBrusk walks, it's kind of crazy. But I will say this: I think DeBrusk and Bertuzzi's contracts are reliant on each other. Both their camps, I bet you, are waiting to see what the other gets. Not what Jake Gensel gets, because they're not near Jake Gensel's level. But I bet you that they're waiting for something like that to happen to set the precedent.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, that would be interesting if Bertuzzi came back. I liked him while he was here.
He's a psycho.
Like anything about Toronto, but I didn't hate him when he was there. He was just, I don't know. I feel like his attitude was built for Boston.
Yeah, he's an asshole.
And he's not terrible.
And he's a psycho.
And he's not terrible.
He doesn't tape the top of his knob, dude. I'd never seen that. I don't trust him.
I never did.
Yeah, he doesn't tape the top of his stick. It drives me crazy. I see it and I think he's crazy.
No, I never noticed that.
Yeah, you can't trust a man that doesn't tape the top of his stick. I don't know. It's just like I don't know. It's like going out there naked. It feels weird. It's like if you don't tape your stick at all. I think at that point you just don't belong in the NHL. No, I don't know. There's a lot of names out there.
There really is. I mean, I mean, out of all these guys, I mean, you're just thinking about like your centers and your right wings too. Do they go after any defensemen here? Or, I mean, there's a lot of names this year.
Yeah, there's I think Brendan Dillon from Winnipeg's out there. You got like I said, Joel Edmondson. I'm going to name Derek Forbort and Matt Grzelcyk too because they are Bruins. Kevin Shattenkirk, some of the Bruins. Who do you re-sign in that facet? I think we discussed it last episode where we're not re-signing most of them. We would consider Shattenkirk. Who else do I fail to mention? Matt Dumba too, who's a
Dumba. Yeah, Grzelcyk's gone for sure. I thought DeBrusk. Just like we said last episode, I have no idea what's going to happen with that.
There could be rumblings where he wants $7 million, and I'm not willing to pay him $7 million. I can't.
Yeah.
I think 6 is as high as I would go. If I could get him for 6, or if I could get him and Elias Lindholm both at $6.5 million, and then Swayman for 8, that leaves us with $3 million in cap room. Go maybe sign some bottom left defenseman just to kind of help the defense out a little bit.
Yeah.
Right? Like just kind of keep it a little honest. Like, because Wotherspoon and Andrew Peeke actually statistically had the best defensive stats for Boston in the playoffs. So they were a shutdown lineup, and I'd love to. I can't wait to see what he does with a full training camp because I think Columbus gave up on Andrew Peeke way too soon. He's a good defenseman.
Speaking of, I know we got the draft and some free agency dates going on, but I know I have it written down. We got the free agency starts next week and development camps next week. Rookie camp starts the early September. Training camps a couple weeks after that. I definitely want to hit a couple of these. I definitely want to get there in person, get some eyes on these guys.
Yeah, and some PTOs too. Interesting. So there is potential. By the way, sorry, going back to the defenseman conversation, St. Louis might be buying out Torrey Krug. There's a lot of rumors. Would you be open to a reunion with Krug and the Bruins if the price was right?
Yeah, I got nothing against Krug. I think he's still pretty. He's again not a superstar, but he's not bad. He's a solid defenseman.
Where would you put him?
That I don't know.
I think I'd put him with Peeke. I would. If
I was just gonna say. I'm not ignoring. I'm looking down at my phone. I was gonna say maybe slot him in where Wotherspoon's at.
Yeah, I would keep him at the bottom pair. You have him as a puck mover. Keep Peeke as your shutdown guy. And put Krug on the power play. Have him help maybe McAvoy get things open, get things rolling. I don't know. Maybe take Campus Lindholm off the power play and put him on the second one. I wouldn't be mad with a Krug reunion, but I think he would need to take a substantial pay cut. Like probably he would have to settle for $1.5 to $2 million.
What was he getting in St. Louis?
I think he's getting 5.
Is he?
Yeah, I think he's getting upwards of 5. I can actually take a quick peek at that, but I agree. I certainly would not be opposed to that.
6.5.
Oh God, yeah, he's not getting that out there.
6.5.
He's what, 33, 34? Yeah, he won't be getting that anywhere else.
Yeah, 6.5. He's 33.
Yeah. Well, think of it this way: if they buy him out of his contract, he's still getting that money, and so anything he'll easily take maybe a $2 million deal somewhere. Because
I'd take him back.
Yeah,
I'd take him back.
Bolster the power play a little bit. So let's just say a hypothetical, right? Let's just say in our free agency, our ideal wish list would be definitely for me, it's Elias Lindholm. I think you need to go get him. And I think you have to re-sign DeBrusk in that manner. I do. I think you just kind of have to be there. And I think, you go 6.5 for each of them. And then go get Swayman for hopefully if you can talk him down to 7.
Yeah, Swayman's a lock. It's just a matter of what they're going to give him.
Mm-hmm.
I think I have a funny feeling they're going to pay DeBrusk, and I don't know. I don't know if he'll take a less than what he could get somewhere else because he was drafted here, he played here. I mean, he did ask for a trade a couple years ago, but we talked about that before. That's a different situation. I don't know if he'll take less to try to bolster the team or what.
It's a good question. Do you think the Swayman takes them to arbitration again?
No.
Actually, no. Correct me. They took him to arbitration, if I remember correctly.
No, I think that they're going to hammer out a deal pretty easily.
Yeah, with the salary cap being freed up.
Yeah, I think that they'll get a deal done pretty easily.
They also signed Ian Mitchell, who's another right defenseman. So
I forgot about that.
If they're talking with Dan Heinen's camp and they kind of offered DeBrusk a final offer, do you kind of feel like this might just be another rebuilding year for the Bruins, that they just finally accept it and say, you know what, we have our 2025 first round pick. Why don't we just take the team we got, go for it? And if it takes 1 year to get something done, we'll take that 1 year to get something done.
Yeah, I don't think that they have cup aspirations for this upcoming year. I think they could probably use that as, let's work on what we can get under the cap. We have I don't know what the free agency class for next year is. I know we have a handful on our team, Marchand being one of them, and who knows if he'll
Marchand will take it. He'll do similar to Bergeron. I think he'll do a $1-2 million deal, leave space for the team to improve, and I think Don Sweeney will then take a look at that, because if we spend all the money this year, we'll have $27 million next year to sign. And yes, we'll have some free agents, but they're not huge names.
Okay, then yeah, I think that they could potentially, kind of use this upcoming year as the same, as this past year, kind of work into a slow rebuild.
Yeah, I don't know if this team will need to do a hard reset for at least a little while, so long as Sweeney can manage his assets. And I know this is kind of like drifting away from the free agency this year, but it kind of ties into it a little bit, because it's kind of like how Don Sweeney feels his strategy. And so I think if he doesn't get his wish list, I think that's the direction where they'll go. They'll kind of take a look at that and say, all right, we'll take it for what it is. We'll build the team again from scraps, and maybe we make a little bit of a push to a playoff spot, but we're not going to be upset if we don't make it, and then we make a bigger splash in the following year.
That's another thing too. It's not like that. This past year was like, a bottom of the barrel, just barely getting by. I mean, they were a playoff team. They got beat by Florida, but they were a playoff team. They weren't bad. So I don't think that they think that like a hard reset is coming anytime soon.
No,
I don't think.
Not with Pastrnak, Swayman, and McAvoy, and as young as they are, they're gonna at least stave that off for as long as possible.
Yeah. So I think that next year, regardless of who they whoever they draft this year, I don't think will play, unless he's a stud who stands out and whatever. Mm-hmm. But I think it's going to be relatively similar to this year, depending on what pieces they get.
Yeah. Interesting tidbit, just kind of looking ahead to next year, one of the biggest free agents next year is Leon Draisaitl.
Yeah, I want him bad.
But I'm not willing.
I want him in Boston so bad.
I'm not willing to pay him $13 million.
No, I don't
that's the only thing.
There's already been rumors that he's interested in coming. No, I mean,
there's rumors. Yeah, I mean, it's because Edmonton's kind of backed themselves in a corner with their cap situation.
Yeah.
So there's unless he makes I mean, I don't know. It depends on how much Edmonton really loves him and things like that. But that's just a future look going ahead.
I mean, depending on what he wants for money, I guarantee he wants out. I guarantee he wants out of Edmonton. I think that yesterday was their only shot to get something done there. And so I feel bad for McAvoy. I mean, I'm sorry,
McDavid.
Again, I think that Game 7 was his shot at the cup. I don't think he's going to get it again.
I don't think he'll get it again in Edmonton.
No.
But I think he's not going to. He wants to win. He's the kind of guy that wants to win. And he was the first player, I think, since the 1990s that won the Conn Smythe on that, for being on the losing team.
Yeah, so, I saw he was like the 6th player in history, and only 4 of those 6 were goalies.
Yep.
So he's only the 2nd player in skater in history to win a Conn Smythe on a losing team.
Yep. So we'll see. I don't know. Edmonton also might have some decisions to make too, but we'll have to see in the free agent. It's going to be an exciting free agent year, I think. I don't know, but I think Boston is limited with who they can go after in free agency. And it all depends on who signs for what. Because right now, this year,
hopefully they can pull some strings. I mean, there's a lot of talent out there, and they got to go somewhere.
And I mean, we have promising prospects too. I mean, we were ranked pretty low, in the league for the prospect pool, but Patra and Lowry and Lauko are kind of really helping that, and Beecher as well. They're kind of showing that they're really not as bad as people had anticipated. So maybe we go up a little bit. And we still got Patra coming there, and I think he'll grow into a wonderful 2C. The kid's only 19 or 20.
I was going to say I'm excited to see him come back.
Yeah,
I was bummed when he got hurt last year.
I honestly think we had a better chance against Florida with him in the lineup. It would have added an additional piece. I think that the Bruins needed on the secondary side of scoring.
Oh yeah, I mean he's good, and you could tell for someone so young that he's going to be good.
Yeah.
So if he can stay healthy, I mean, I know it's a lot to say after not even a full year of his career, but if he can stay healthy,
he's 20. Yeah, he's 20.
If he can stay healthy, then it's gonna be fun to watch.
My kid, like I said, and my wish list is not like Lindholm and DeBrusk. You got to Sandstrom, obviously, but he's an RFA, and I think they're also going to resign Jesper Boquist, who's also an RFA. They'll tender his qualifying offer, so it'll be fine with him, I think. But for me, just kind of a bit of a look ahead too. We mentioned it. Lysell needs to make the team. I think. If I'm Sweeney, I'm not shopping for a right wing in the offseason. I'm elevating Lysell from Providence, letting him play on a line. I think it would be wonderful if we actually had a line that was, if in a perfect world, and if we get, Lindholm, DeBrusk, and Swayman signed, and we run with that deep defensive core, you could have Marchand, Lindholm, Pasternak, DeBrusk, Zacha, and Lysell, and I don't know, but if you can't get DeBrusk signed, then you move Zacha to the left wing, put Coyle on the center, and then they support Lysell. And but I think Don Sweeney, either you do something with Lysell or you trade him.
I was just gonna say, we said it last time. You have to put him on the team or you have to move. He's not doing us any good where he's at.
And that's the only way I see if the Bruins really want to move up in this draft. They're going to need to couple that 25th pick and Lysell and move up if they want some form of NHL ready player. But I'm just hesitant to do so because it doesn't save us any cap room. It doesn't do anything for our farm system. And in my opinion, you fail Lysell in that regard. So I think
they already have. They already have.
For sure. I don't think they failed him yet. I think that this is the year that they need to give him his shot.
Not the wrong term, but do or die. Again, it's he's got to make the team. He has to this year.
Yeah, and
promote him or trade him or get rid of him.
And part of that could be on Lysell too. Part of that can be on himself, whether or not he's just not putting in the effort. But he had 50 points in 56 games in Providence this year. He was doing good. They didn't call him up, and there was some discussion about they couldn't, blah 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 blah. And I'm just like, I think if they really wanted to, they would have found a way to do it.
They must hate him. They must just hate him. They're bringing up all these guys, and he's not even. He hasn't even touched Garden Ice. They have to hate him.
So I don't know. And the reason why they probably didn't bring him up in the playoffs was because he's been injured. I looked up. I'm like, why wouldn't they just risk bringing up another fast right winger in the playoffs that they need scoring? And apparently Lysell was injured. I think it was a broken collarbone or something along those lines. It was a significant upper body injury for him, so he missed time. So I don't know. That's the only other options I see too. They get rid of Lysell for a package or something like that in the free agency.
It's just, if you're not going to promote him, then what are we doing?
Failing
what are
him.
we doing?
Failing him.
He drafted him so high up, and he's just been sitting in Providence. You have to make a decision.
Yep, I agree, and I think honestly, the biggest factor for me is get Lindholm, right, Elias. Yeah, that's your first line center. Actually, I'd even settle for Sean Monahan. I would. Bit of on a cheaper deal.
I don't think of him.
And I think he could settle as your first line center. I think that'd be okay. Not the greatest, but he wins faceoffs. He's an excellent two-way forward. And put him in a guy like Marchand and Pastrnak, it'll get him going. And then at that point, you demote Coyle to the 2C, and then have Zach on your left and Lysell on your right. Whatever it is, if you get a first line center in some capacity, Lysell has to be your right winger with Coyle and Zacha. I think that would be a good second line because you got Coyle a big body, Zacha a big body, and Lysell can just snipe it, similar to how Marchand and Bergeron used to feed Pastrnak. Yeah. I think that dynamic needs to occur.
I mean, it's like we said, we keep saying it over and over. It's going to be interesting. I mean, there are so many different directions they could go in. The draft is in a couple of days. I guarantee the rest of the week is going to be unproductive at work. Beyond the last 2 weeks that Cap Friendly is going to exist. I mean,
yeah, I'm not at liberty to discuss my productivity at work in case any of my coworkers, are listening. So whoever listens to this, because that's the last thing I need in my life. No, I'm only kidding. But yeah, I think definitely on anytime on free agency, I'm always kind of like my eyes are kind of also drifting towards my phone and be like, okay, what's going on? And any fan of any sport, will probably do that on the free agency.
It's gonna be fun. It's gonna be fun.
I'm excited. No, I am. I think
not even just for the Bruins' sake. I'm excited. It's gonna be interesting to see where everybody goes.
It's gonna be a whole new league. And you know what? I love it. I effing love it. The fact over the last 2 years, so many other teams were able to kind of elevate themselves just a smidge because these talented players can't make a lot of money with the teams that they were drafted by, so they might have to go somewhere else. And now you look at there are some also big names out there like Matt Dumba, Brandon Montour, Sam Reinhart, all these guys. A lot of them are probably going to go back to their respective teams, but all these other teams that have more money might just be like, "Hey, I'll just pay you $1 million more." Or something like that per year, and that might be enough to sway somebody.
It's going to shake up. The league's going to shake up a lot.
Yeah, Mitch Marner might be on his way to Arizona, for Christ's sake. Not Arizona, Utah. Arizona's dead.
Come on.
Arizona,
the hockey club.
Yeah, the hockey club. By the way, I think the Utah Blizzard is the leading name, or the Yeti. I really wanted to be fucking Yeti.
I had those two as my front runners. I think with and I don't know how it's going to be, but you got to imagine with all like the merchandise they're going to sell and all the branding around the rink, those colors,
buddy, I'm buying a fucking jersey.
For sure.
If it's the Yeti, I am buying a jersey. If it's the Yeti, if it's the Storm and Mormons, I'm buying I'm buying a jersey, whatever it is.
I think the Yeti sounds the best. I think that
for sure.
The Blizzard is good. The Blizzard is good.
I think it's too similar to the Avalanche. That's the problem with me. I think it's too similar to the Avalanche.
Yep. I didn't think of that. But yeah, I think it's going to be Yeti, and I think that they can do a lot with that, and I think it's going to be really
the Outlaws is a good one too, but it just doesn't fit the colors. It doesn't. The Yeti, and I think when they revealed the colors, I think they also kind of gave a hint towards that it's either going to be the Blizzard or the Yeti. So
right now it's Roll Hockey Club.
Dumb fucking name. They can't keep it like that. I can't.
I like it. I think they should have kept the Washington football team. Team.
No, I can't. I can't. I won't do it. You mean the
Washington
like
Yeah, the PWHL. Just don't even give them a name. Just call them Utah.
No, don't do that. Don't do that to me. No, it needs to be the Yeti. Ever since they said Yeti, I'm in on it.
Cool.
Like, I just want them to have a big fucking picture of Chewbacca. Like, you know what I mean?
Yeah, it's like that picture of like
thing,
Bigfoot.
Yeah.
He's like
yeah, yeah, dude. You need that. Well, no, what was it? I think Avalanche have like the
foot.
Yeah, the foot.
Yeah.
Weird. But like, you know, not a foot guy, Volga. I know, but like
the Yeti.
It's that's what I need. I need the Yeti. No, it's going to be an exciting year. I think, you know, especially now Ottawa has Ullmark, a decent goaltender. They just need to figure out what the fuck is going on in that locker room. Touch them up. They might be a good team.
Was celebrating in the bleachers yesterday because they signed Ullmark. He was fired up about that.
Oh yeah. Well, not the fact that his brother, like, you know, I thought he was crying because it's the closest he's ever going to get to a Stanley Cup.
Yeah, I saw them. They're showing Keith Tkachuk and Brady Tkachuk. I was like, this guy's just having a day. He just got Ullmark. He's probably about to party with the cup later. Like,
no, I do. There's like that rumor, right? No, there's like that thing, right? You don't touch the cup until you've won it, right?
But he probably went out partying with the guys.
Oh, probably, yeah, for sure. Like, no, they're all buddies. Off the ice, I'm pretty sure a lot of people are buddies. Like, you know, whatever. He'll be around it, but I don't think he's touching it.
No, God,
unless he's just that stupid. I couldn't resist.
I still wouldn't.
I'd hug the hell out of that thing.
I know there's no chance, but
I'd hug the hell out of it.
You gotta earn that.
Oh, well, are we talking about if I went to the Hall of Fame?
Yeah.
Or if I won it. If I went to the Hall of Fame, I'm gonna cry into the cup and drink my tears out of it because I'm never gonna be able to do anything.
If I ever won it, I would make sweet tender love to it. But if I was just saw it in person, I gotta keep a respectful distance.
The next teammate that you give that cup to is gonna be like, why the hell is there a hole at the bottom?
Yeah, no. I hate Florida, and after they won, I hated it. I hated watching it. But I couldn't turn it off. You only get to see the cup like that once a year.
Yeah.
You know, getting celebrated like that.
Yeah. No, I mean, I was actually happy for Bobrovsky. I was happy for everyone. So congratulations to the Florida Panthers for winning their first ever Stanley Cup. Took you 30 years, but you finally did it. Off the back of a goaltender, I think, but
you almost blew it.
He was not looking good in the final few moments, but yeah, they got it. So, you know, they don't ask how, right? They ask how many.
You almost blew it. It almost was like Edmonton didn't even realize it was a Game 7. Like they were just kind of.
I thought it was a very, very good game.
Oh, it wasn't a bad game, but I just the Florida definitely had more edge.
Oh, I think they took the physicality on early, and you know, but I think Edmonton was responding very well. They just Bob stood on his head, and there was a lot of block shots.
There was a couple chances. I was watching your live stream yesterday. By the way, go subscribe to the Pucking Around podcast on YouTube.
Part of Don't Puck with Media.
Exactly. A little plug action there. I was watching the stream, and it was you guys got to figure out that delay situation. That was kind of crazy.
We don't know how. I'd love to. Alex would just yell at him. Yeah,
like, I'm at this time.
It's a live hangout. It's not a podcast. We're just hanging out, having a good time, and then we just love seeing Rick scream.
I see Norton there, like celebrate a goal, and like 30 seconds later, you guys are like, "Whoa!" You know, that was fun. I definitely enjoyed watching that. That was cool. But yeah, there was a couple shots at the end. Edmonton had some chances. They just couldn't. I mean, like Bobrovsky in those moments. I mean, he's either on or he's off, and when he's on, he's on.
Yeah, I mean, after 3 stinky butt games in a row, I think he needed to have a game.
Dude, stinky butt games is what they were.
They were what 8-1, 5-3, 5-1. You need to have a game. You need to bounce back after that. You can't. I honestly thought Edmonton was going to win last night because I thought they finally got to him. I don't know.
Me too. I took them before the game, and then in the middle of the stream, I took them again, and I lost.
Oof.
So thanks for that, Edmonton.
You're welcome. Gambling's bad, ladies and gentlemen. Don't do gambling.
Do it responsibly.
Yep. I'd bet on that.
Do it responsibly.
Yeah. All right, guys, I think that's really going to do it for us. So what we're going to do is we're going to stick to our commitment and do this once every 2 weeks. So the next time you guys hear from us, we're going to kind of reevaluate our comments that were based on the free agency, because free agency would have passed. Yeah, so make sure to tune in over the summer. We're going to have some updates, hopefully maybe even some videos of some Bruins practices or some training and development camps.
Oh, we'll get content out for the people.
Oh, we're going to get some content out, baby.
We'll get some content out.
We're going to get out on that ice and get some content. You know what I mean?
We are. That's coming soon, too, this year.
Yeah. We're going to be in that draft. We're not going to get drafted. We're just going to be in the draft.
Where is it this year?
It's the final year. This is the final year. Right? It's in the Sphere. Yep. Which is going to be epic. So, all right, guys, make sure to tune in. Give us a like, give us a follow. Don't forget to go subscribe to Don't Puck with Media. That's where this podcast is hosted. Also on Spotify and Amazon Music or Amazon Podcast, whatever they call it. I don't really know. I'm not up to the snuff. I'm 30 years old. You guys got to give me a break here. All right, guys. Good night from Hi-BruiNation.
Go Bruins.